Today we'll take you to Tokyo, one of the world's most populated and most advanced cities. This is like a Segway for a wheelchair.
Just what we want.
Wow. But where's the future? The other future?
Electric cars are having a moment.
The demand for electric vehicles is booming.
Not one EV. I'll confront some of Japan's top auto executives to find out why it has one of the lowest EV adoption rates of any developed nation. The EV adoption is not quite as high.
The Nissan EV adoption is high, by the way. We have 58%, okay?
Did I just offend the CEO of Nissan? And meet a man who owns multiple EVs here in Japan. So do people look at you like you're crazy when they find out that you own 2 EVs?
Yes, they do.
To see how the nation who once sold the world's first mass-market EV, soccer moms everywhere are drooling. Plans for an epic comeback story. Behind me is Nissan's hyperpunk vehicle. While on a recent trip to Tokyo, something became glaringly obvious in the city of 37 million people. EVs were almost nowhere to be found. In 7 days, I spotted only 6 Teslas and a few dozen electric Nissans, among others.
It's interesting to see how the whole world is moving to the EV, but Japan is very slow adopting the EV technology.
Back in 2010, Elon Musk bet big on Japan, predicting it would become Tesla's second largest market behind the US. Fast forward 13 years and EVs in Japan only make up 1.5% of new car sales, the lowest of any developed nation and 5 times lower than the US. But hybrids, on the other hand, are everywhere, accounting for over 50% of new car sales last year, which happens to be the world's highest.
We see hybrid every day. Everybody's driving hybrid. For them, it's normal. They don't see the need to jump from hybrid to EV.
Turns out, Toyota's early dominance in that segment may have stunted Japan's EV growth. And while Toyota bet big on hybrids and hydrogen, I never see these in the US. This is the Toyota Mirai, which they say Mirai here, a little bit different, but I've actually seen quite a few of these here in Japan. Nissan, the country's EV leader, has doubled down on electrification. While at the mobility show, nearly all prototypes and concepts from every automaker on display were electric. But there was only one automaker who seemed laser focused on electrification. Nissan CEO Makoto Uchida admitted to me that the EV market was moving faster than expected and that cheaper offerings from China's BYD have been a wake-up call. He said Nissan's key priority moving forward will be affordable pricing for its EVs across the world, electrifying nearly all cars sold in Europe by 2026 and its entire fleet for various markets shortly after. These comments were in stark contrast to Nissan's competitors. Earlier this week, Honda said it was ditching plans to build affordable EV models with GM. Honda's CEO recently said a changing business environment led to the decision to not move forward. So we are seeing lots of Japanese cars here, but they don't really drive cars other than Japanese cars. Toyota, lots of Honda, Mazda, and Nissan, but we're not seeing a lot of European vehicles. Now for Tesla, unlike most markets where it dominates the EV share, in Japan, where service and brand loyalty are everything, Tesla has lagged behind.
They're still very new to Tesla. When Japanese buy things, brand is one big thing. Service is definitely in there. The service you get from Tesla, it's very different than ordinary Japanese automaker. When you exit a dealership, people watch out the street for you. The salespeople actually come out, block somebody else and say that, go ahead, please. But for Tesla, no, it's completely different.
In fact, Japan's best-selling EV is a $13,000 mini car called the Sakura. It accounts for more than half of all EVs sold in Japan this year and quickly became a hit in its home country. Its specs alone tell you the variabilities involved in making a popular EV for each market. The Sakura has a range of around 120 miles, but the 11-foot car has been so popular here that it won Japan's Car of the Year award in 2022. When you're designing globally, do you think about the cultures in different regions? The culture in Japan is very different than the US. Electric car adoption here is very different than the US. So how does that play into the design as well?
To be a Japanese company, we don't make an object and then distribute. We distribute all of our teams. They make objects, send them to headquarters, and headquarter changes.
Now, we did have to sign an NDA for parts of the event that what companies like Nissan have in store in their EV lineup on the production side will both impress you with range and design. But I will say the nation's charging infrastructure has its own challenges. And what's your charging experience like here in Japan?
Oh, Well, it's challenging.
You see, charging stations have an average lifespan of about 8 years, plus they require frequent maintenance. Back in 2014, the Japanese government approved a 100 million yen charging subsidy, deploying thousands of stations nationwide. Today, more than half of those stations are either inoperable or closed down. Moreover, about 60% of high-speed chargers in Japan have an output of less than 50 kilowatts, while in most developed nations, you'll find upgraded stations with outputs of 250 or more kilowatts.
Japanese already have the charging infrastructure there like long time ago, but not a lot of people are actually using it. First, it's difficult to use. Second, it's membership based. That means you have to be the member in order to use it.
Our friend Alan, who owns both the Model 3 Performance and the Audi e-tron GT, runs the only A-frame cabins in the area. Now check out the windows on this A-frame, right? That scrolls down as well if you want privacy, but look at this. There's the remote. Boom. There's the forest. I thought that was really cool. Now you see it, now you don't. Beautiful views when you wake up looking over the countryside. Mount Fuji is actually right out there. He's also installed a destination charger at his properties. But in over 4 years of ownership, he says his charger has only been used once. Japan's Tesla superchargers are also pretty sparse considering the population. The country is home to 125 million, but only has 90 supercharging stations. By contrast, neighboring South Korea has less than half of Japan's population, but double its supercharging network. So I want to take a quick moment and thank you guys for continuing to support our channel. So we've been doing this for almost a decade now, and in the last few months we've really tried to scale it up, better equipment. You guys might have noticed some of the things we have going on here. Now it all costs quite a bit to be able to do this, and one of the ways we're able to do that is with sponsors, but another way that you guys can be part of it is over on Patreon. So we revamped it recently, and we have a lot of different ways for you guys to get involved on our videos. You can get early access, you can be part of our videos, and even have exclusive calls with PJ and I to talk about Teslas and EVs. Now you can also support us by taking a look at our merchandise that I have linked down below, and it all goes back to just creating great content for you guys. And you also get that warm, fuzzy feeling inside when you support independent creators and help build up this community. So I'll link everything down below, and let's just get back to the video, but thank you. We are getting a first look at Infiniti's Vision QE. This is their new electric concept vehicle. We're going to take you inside. We're here for a special viewing. Let's go check it out. While in Japan, we saw some incredible concepts, including Infiniti's first planned EV. This is the Vision QE. This Infiniti was designed with the US market in mind and expected to be built in Nissan's Canton, Mississippi plant. Nissan also featured its Hyper Series concepts at the event, which gives you all sorts of Cybertruck vibes. There's the Hyperpunk, an origami-inspired EV, the Hyper Tourer, an electric minivan, the Hyper Adventure, a futuristic SUV, plus the Urban and Hyperforce EVs. Of course, everyone will tell you that these concepts will never see the light of day, but Nissan confirmed they'll be releasing about 20 new EVs in their lineup before 2030. So you can imagine they'll be drawing at least some inspiration from each of these concepts. All in all, it was refreshing to see a Japanese company embracing electrification, because again, hybrids have been the name of the game here for so long. Nissan CEO also told me it would be a priority for the company to not just make compelling EVs for each market, but also make sure they're readily available and affordable. Alright guys, be sure you're subscribed, because up next we'll take you inside a Tesla showroom in Tokyo for a sneak peek inside the new refreshed Model 3. Plus, remember to check out our new Patreon, as I'll be posting some exclusive content including vlogs from our Japan trip and never before seen footage. I'll link everything you need to know down below. And thanks for your support, and I'll catch you next time. Is he proposing? He's like he's proposing. For photo.
Yeah, for waiting photo. It's actually a big market for Asian people.